I suppose it was an obvious design choice. I'm talking about the Amiga 500 Mini that's coming out apparently in 2022, is it? The Amiga 500, and I suppose you can lump in the Amiga 500 Plus, which looks identical physically. Counts for 9 out of 10 Amigas ever sold. But for a mini console, you know, something that rivals the PlayStation Mini, the NES Mini as well, you just need a box with some joystick ports, which I'll come back to in a second. Surely the Amiga 1000 and the CD-TV it's got to be the right shape. Yeah, I know the Amiga 1000 joystick ports are on the side, and on the CD-TV they're on the back, and really you're going to have them on the front, like the NES Mini or whatever. But you're going to get the same sort of people who said the C64 Mini, you know, the keyboard doesn't work. It's a bit silly, because as soon as people see these sort of things, then it's like, well, why didn't they make one with a working keyboard, and why does it have to be mini? Now obviously you know, SNES NES Mini purchasers don't think like that. They're kind of different. Different generation, different, same generation, but gaming history, I suppose. I'm not going to say that because I kind of have a different opinion. I still think the C64 Mini was a dumb idea, but anyway, I'm not sure the C64 full size was a worthwhile purchase for me, so I don't think I'll be buying any kind of either mini or full size recreation of an Amiga 500, even if I didn't have like 3 or 4 of them. But unlike a real C64 disk drive and, you know, game on a disk, or, you know, device emulator if you want to use that, the C64 full size or the SD to IEC connected to a real C64, those last two can't play any copies of Skyfox 2 that you'll ever see on the internet. I only bought a C64 full size to play games that won't run via the SD to IEC. And let's face it, that's down to lame cracks. The only game that needs a full emulation of a 1541 disk drive is Little Computer People House on the Disk, because it does something weird about the motherboard. I'm pretty sure it's the motherboard combined possibly with something on the, yeah, there's a video on how that's done. But basically those two together create a random seed, so when you run it for the first time, it does actually give you a different LCP character. So it's not like everyone bought Little Computer People House on the Disk and they all experienced exactly the same little, you know, virtual pet. And that's what it was, the first virtual pet. Fantastical virtual pet. You know, it's not like those cats or dog skins you get on the Windows desktop. The problem here is the Amiga doesn't have that problem. I doubt the Gotek USB floppy drive thingy is anything other than 100% successful at running ADF copies of games on a real Amiga. And combine that with the fact that unless your TV is less than 2 years old, it will still support the RGB SCAR import from a real Amiga. Definitely outside the USA. I don't know about Australia, but anyway, we're digressing now. I'm from the UK, so I can only speak from that point of view. And seeing as Europe was Amiga's biggest market by far, closely followed by Australia, per person, you know, by population, I'm going to guess that's not really a problem that you can solve with like either, you know, the Amiga Mini or the Amiga full size. I don't know what they're going to call it. Actually, it's called the Amiga 500 Mini or something. Because you have zero quality issues if you use SCART RGB. I played Lotus 2 on my 55-inch plasma using the SCART RGB. And there was no problem with the pixels. There was no compression artifacting, nothing like that you get with S-Video or composite video, because basically it treats it as an interlaced VGA PC input, which as a legacy all TVs still support, because the entire, you know, 720p business is based around the way a PC LCD monitor displays something. It's got nothing to do with how a CRT works to generate an image. Well, maybe 1080i. So that's the reason why I'll never buy anything like this. Is it a good idea? I don't know how much it's going to be. I haven't really done any research into it, but I think there will definitely be people who will buy it. It's sort of like you know, a novelty cased version of something like Minimig, which I haven't even read about for like a decade, so I don't know what's happened with that, which is an FPGA core, I think, emulation of like Amiga. It started out originally with you know, Kickstart 1.3, OCS capable, and that had USB sockets on it, I believe, or was it PS2? I'm not sure, you know. But you could definitely connect a PC keyboard to it. And I'm guessing via USB you're going to be able to connect a PC keyboard to the Amiga 500 Mini. So I guess it comes down to, can you still get stuff like Minimig? There is another machine, I can't remember what it's called, that supports multiple cores. You know, people would still want that if the price is right. That's even assuming you can still buy a Minimig, but like I said, there is another FPGA box kind of thing that you load in different cores and it will emulate different machines. There's one that will do C64 as well. There's Amiga cores, Atari ST cores. I just can't remember what it's called. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea. I mean, the C64 Mini was at 70 or 80 quid. And there's no reason why it would cost more, because it's actually quite difficult to emulate a C64 because of all the weird features in the VIC-2 and the SID, as well as the complexity of how the SID generates 16-bit digital, basically, has to be, it's on the chip, virtual analog synthesis. Is it virtual? It's not fully digital, because the oscillators are still analog, I suppose, even though they're on the chip die. But yeah, I think if it comes out at 80 quid, then definitely, you know, if you don't have a SCART RGB capable LCD or plasma, and you don't have like an original monitor or CRT TV in good condition, whether you use SCART RGB or not is down to you. Some games look worse with all the dithering. That's what I used to remember from my Amiga 1000 on my Sony Trinitron. So I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just not something that I could find useful. I do actually have a Gotek drive, It's not installed in any Amiga, but it is kind of connected to it. The case is off. It's like someone had like bodged up something, and I just bought it like that, and I got it going. And then I lost the tiny USB stick that came with it. It was literally the size of a fingernail. It was like one of the smallest USB sticks I've seen. It's basically the size of a USB socket, the actual metal bit. So, but with an external disk drive that doesn't work and will never work, let's say you can't get a compatible mechanism with it, which, yeah, it's impossible, that situation will never happen. But you know, if you really fancied that, and you've got an Amiga, I think anything with Kickstart 2.0 onwards, you could actually put the Gotek into an external, like, you know, disk drive housing, the casing, and connect it up as DF1. And the Amiga 1200 and 600, I believe the 600 as well, will boot from you know, an external floppy drive. Doesn't need to be in, but the game may not support that. It depends how much of the Kickstart routines the game uses. But that is a Kickstart 2.0, I think, onwards. I don't think you need 2.1. So for me, I'd probably spend my money on, you know, a USB drive. Like I said, I've got a Gotek, I've got external disk drives that don't work anymore mechanically. You can even buy one of those because no one really buys them if they don't actually work. And if you pay too much for an untested disk drive for an, you know, external drive for an Amiga on eBay, that's your problem, mate. I wouldn't let anyone bid me up more than probably 15 quid if it didn't work, or if it was like all untested solder spares repairs. It's bullshit. You know what that means? It means I had a quick go, looks buggered, I'm not going to use it. So yeah, and actually, apart from the disc swapping business, which is a pain, and the fact that for the CD TV I'd have to somehow wire up a switch so I can disable the CD drive or enable it when I want to run actual CDs. That's really what you're going to have to deal with to use it on the CD TV. Again, Amiga 1000, 2000, I think all of those are Kickstart 1.3 that I own, so no go there. So maybe I'll just sacrifice an Amiga 500 and, you know, the one that's currently sort of working, as far as I can tell. I ain't actually loaded an ADF on it, but I'll just cut a bit of the case and I'll have one Amiga 500. I'll probably pick the most yellowed one. And I think that'll solve my problem. But then I do own about 20 CRT screens. And if you start including bespoke things like monochrome monitors, for the Atari ST, I've got two of those, I believe, SM124 and SM144. I'm pretty sure I've got the one that sits on top of the Mega STE as well. It's got a particularly sculptured case, and the monitor stand kind of sits on it and locks it. So yeah, it's not for me, but for you with your brand new 4K HD TV, I think, and if you don't have all the stuff I have, I think it'd probably be, yeah, for the right price, it'd be a good idea. Because back then I was interested in the Mini-Mig, it was just the price really was working against me for my financial situation at the time.